I'm on now. Okay. We're on time. I'm 3 minutes early, y'all. I thought I was late. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, I've been buying too much stuff in the dealer room. Yeah, I know. It's so big. I had to like explore it in shifts. It was like, okay, I'll see a third of it today, and a third of it today. And then this morning they let us in like 20 minutes early, and so there was like no one in there. And I was like, I can actually look at stuff. This is amazing.
I legit ran down to the dealer's room. Like, I snuck out of autograph line and I got cut from bottom right earlier.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
The whole line pretty much did. I snuck down there
Sorry,
and bought
guys.
all and bought seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of these out.
Nice, very cool.
Did you get stopped by any fans in the dealer's room?
No. In fact, the first day I was like running around, and I ran into some Show by Rock cosplayers, and I ran up and I was like, oh my god, can I get your picture? And they had a choo-choo, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm sorry, I ran over here and scared you, but I actually voice your character. And whenever we tell people that, sometimes they look at us like, yeah, right. Or there's this look of like, what? Why is this stranger talking to me? Or sometimes there's excitement, but it's hard to like read their faces. And she was kind of like oh, you do? And I was like, yeah. And so we got to talking, and it was really cool, and that was exciting. And then another booth had a plushie of Tommaso from Puzzle and Dragons, which I'm working on right now, and so I bought that, and I told him that I voiced it. I don't think that girl believed me. And it talks. You push a little like button on it, and it goes, Tama! And it's so cute. I bought some art books. I bought some like line boxes. I bought all kinds of stuff. It's bad, y'all. Like, it's bad. Like, where's my money going? Oh yeah. Support. Did anyone else get anything like super cool? Yeah, what'd you get? Oh, nice! Back in test. Nice. Anybody buy any like figures or anything?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Yeah, they had a lot of like really cool booths in there, like lots of really cool stuff, and it was so overwhelming. But anyway, I'm killing time until 12:45, and then we'll actually get started. What time is it?
12:44.
12:24.
It's 12:45 on my watch. Let's get started now.
Yeah, okay, hi! I'm sorry, they just fed me lunch, and I have like a lot of energy right now. I was like dying earlier. First of all, I wanted to ask, who was at the Escaflowne premiere? Woo! What'd you guys think? Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, out of those people, how many of you were previous Escaflowne fans? Like grew up with it, nice. New fans who like never seen it. Cool. Yeah, we did a Q&A with the original Japanese director, Akane-san, and like he had some really amazing insight into like how it was created and like the choices that were made back when they originally created it, and it was just so amazing. So thank you guys for coming out. I was so nervous, but it was really fun. So yeah, anyway, I guess this is just me up here. My schedule just said panel, so I'm like, all right, hi. My name is Alexis Tipton, and I hail from Dallas, Texas. I work predominantly for Funimation Entertainment doing, yes? Doing predominantly anime cartoons. I also do video games for Otakon 5000 Studios in Dallas, Texas. Do industrial voiceover work for various studios, and then I also work for various studios in Los Angeles doing anime and video games as well. So I'm predominantly a voiceover actor, but I also do theater and film, so if you have any questions about either of those two things, feel free. So yeah, this is just kind of a general Q&A. You guys provide the Q, and I will answer as best as possible. So yeah, anybody have questions? Yeah.
Hello. First of all, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
My second question is, you're in the show, which I think is pretty underrated, called Blood Seed.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's see, yeah.
And I know in the episode commentary you said that you had seen it beforehand, but I was wondering what it was like recording from cute school girl who sings about the sky being blue, letting a giant four-armed samurai.
Has anyone seen Blood Sea?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Most people are like, what? Yeah, Bloodsea was really, really cool. It was also Jerry Jewell's directorial debut, so that was really cool getting to work with him in that capacity. Yeah, Saya starts off as being very sweet, very happy-go-lucky, very, singing about the sky being blue on her way. She sings songs on her way to school every day. Yeah, and then as the series progresses, we see an increasingly darker side to Saya. And especially once you get to the movie, all traces of the cute Saya are gone. She is now this bloodthirsty, revenge-seeking, hate-filled woman. And yeah, that was a very interesting journey. And we tried very hard to catch the moments in the very beginning where we got glimpses of that to sort of, introduce some sort of different vocal note that would hint to the audience that, something's not quite right or something's a little off. So as an actor, I always appreciate the roles that challenge me the most, and she was definitely a challenge in that way. So, and when we got to the movie, I was like, wow, if this movie had been standalone and I had auditioned for this, I probably would not have gotten cast because she's so low. But because I was already the character, it sort of opened this door for me to try a different voice and to try to go lower than I ever had before. So yeah, it kicked my butt, but in a good way. Oh God, this side of the room is like, we're all questions! And this side of the room is like, hi, we're happy to be here. The teal phone right there in the back. Yeah.
When you first started recording Tales of Hysteria in the game, were you kind of upset that Alicia wasn't in it as much as she was when they were, I don't know how to say.
Oh no, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. She asked about Tales of Hysteria. When we were recording the game, she mentioned that she asked if I was upset that Alicia wasn't in it as much as the marketing campaign suggested that she would be. I actually had not seen any promo material for it when we started recording, so I had no idea how she was being marketed. I didn't find out until after we were done, because we finished recording it about a year before it came out. And it had just come out in Japan, so a lot of those commercials and stuff weren't available on YouTube yet. But I did find it interesting when I started watching the promotional material. I was like, wow, I don't remember being in it that much, But it was interesting. Somebody online after the game was released actually sent me an article that was talking about how fans in Japan were upset that she wasn't used as much as the marketing campaign. And it went both ways. They were upset that Alicia wasn't used as much, and then they were also upset that Rose was, but that she was not because they didn't like Rose, but because they thought she should have been better represented in the marketing campaign. And so a lot of the fans felt lied to and betrayed and, drama, which is why they came out with the DLC featuring Alicia. And now that we're doing the broadcast dub for Tales of Hysteria Cross, she's featured very heavily in the first few episodes, and I'm wondering if there's a correlation. So yeah, I didn't know, but I was a little disappointed once I did, because I was like, oh man, it would have been cool for her to just be in the party more. But then when we got the broadcast dub, the anime, I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Hat, sunglasses.
Hey, so I was at the SB1 design. I do have a question about your character for a very new in the series that isn't really all manga a lot, Rosario Vampire.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So my question is how was it voicing Mocha? Was it fun, challenging? Because if you listen, really, it's more like a Valley Girl type accent. It's more polite and nice. And then I was also wondering, since you work for Funimation, if you were scheduled after college Capricorn or after college and something weird. What were your times? Did you ever go out to lunch with these people, get to know them better?
With Rosario plus Vampire, when we were recording it, the manga was not available in the United States. And I'm sure there were scanlations online, but a lot of those are illegal sites. So I had no idea that the manga was so very different when we were recording recording it, and Mocha was, I'd only been a voice actress for maybe 2 years when I voiced Mocha, so I was still getting to know a lot of people, and still sort of building up my resume at Funimation and things like that. I had met Todd before because we had been in other shows together, and I had met Colleen before. And as far as what times we were scheduled, sometimes when I would go in, one or both of them would have already recorded, and sometimes they hadn't. So it was just sort of a, who's available, when is it convenient, there really wasn't like a set, okay, we have to get Colleen in here first, or we have to get Alexis in here first. Like, it was just however it was scheduled, there wasn't any rhyme or reason to it. It really just came down to convenience and who was available. And back then, I didn't know them well enough to like go out to lunch with them or anything, but Todd's one of my dear friends today, and we've been in a lot of shows together, and I actually got to know him better because we premiered Rosario Vampire at Katsucon the year that it came out, and he was there with me hosting the premiere, and so I got to know him a lot better through that, and we've been friends for a long time now. But yeah, no, it was really fun voicing Mocha, and there were some funny things that had to be changed because they didn't translate, most notably like the kabukicho, because that just doesn't translate into English. So that was a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, overall it was like a really fun experience, and it was my first premiere, so that was really cool. And Katsucon at the time was the biggest convention I'd ever been to. So yeah, it was great.
Just one more question.
Yeah.
When you were making Mocha's voice, Sonny said he when he was making Krillin's voice, he started with Popeye and then he took it higher, so you got Krillin. What was it like for making Mocha's voice? And maybe you could give us a demonstration.
For Mocha's voice, I didn't know anything about what Mocha actually sounded like. I was handed some what are called sides, which are the audition lines. I had a picture of her, I had a very short description, and I had 10 or so lines, but they were all taken out of context from different parts of the show. So I had no idea how those lines fit in with each other. Some of them didn't. I had no idea what was going on with the other characters in the scene. It was only one side of a conversation. So yeah, auditioning for voiceover is, they don't give you a whole lot of information, but I could tell by looking at her picture that she was, even though she's a vampire, she physically is of high school age, that she's got pink hair, and that she's got these big, vibrant eyes, and that she's smiling, and she's very sweet and very gentle, and so those types of things will inform me as the actor on making certain choices. And so I just was like, okay, it's a bright, kind, lively high school girl that, and another thing too that I've learned is that with animation, usually the character has pink hair, they're pretty bubbly, usually, not always. And usually if their eyes are drawn a certain way, you can get a feel for the kind of personality that they have if you study different character animations. And so yeah, so then it just turned into this very bright, happy Mocha voice, and I'm so happy to be at Yokai Academy, and all this other stuff, and Skune, stuff like that. And so yeah, and the director apparently loved it because he cast me, or he liked it at least, because he cast me. So yeah, here I am. Yeah, wig right here. Yes.
My question was with Space Dandy, since the dub came out before the sub, I was wondering if when doing voiceover for that, there was any big differences compared to previous ones.
Oh my gosh, Space Dandy was a trip. No, that process was so different, and it's funny because a lot of people say that the dub actually came out before the sub, but they actually came out at the same time. It's just that there's a 14-hour time difference. So it's like my dad travels to Japan a lot for work, and he'll call us, and we're 14 hours behind him. So it'll be the next day there, and he'll be like, "Hi from the future," So it's that kind of stuff. But no, the really amazing thing about Space Dandy was not only was it an anime that was created from the ground up. It was not based off of a manga. There was no pre-existing story beforehand. This team constructed Space Dandy, from 0 to 100, and it that was very interesting. It was also, this happens sometimes, but it's rare. The Japanese director was actually the one who made the final casting decision. Zach Bolton at Funimation called in people that he thought would be good for these various roles, narrowed it down to like 3 or 4 people, and then sent those off to Japan. And then the man who, Ian Sinclair and I were like fangasming over this. I remember he like took my hands and he was like, Alexis, do you realize that the man who directed Cowboy Bebop cast us? And I was like, woo! So that was really cool. And but then it was really interesting because Japan always sends us materials when we have to get our materials from the studio that we're working with. But we usually get them all at once, and we usually get them in order. We did not get them all at once, and a lot of the episodes were sent to us out of order. It's like, okay, today we're doing 8, 4, and 10. And it's like, what? And at least with Space Dandy, like, you can kind of jump in whenever, and the series is so random that I think that actually kind of lent itself well to our recording process. We had such little to go off of, and in some cases, we had like the Japanese track to go off of, but it was crazy. And then when it came out and it aired on Toonami, it was just this like wonderful like kumbaya moment like between everyone that was watching it, regardless of where they were, what they were doing. And I always laugh about this. It's like, ironically, not so much, the dub versus sub war was at an all-time low. And it was an incredible experience. I think that is definitely one of the highlights of my career. It was amazing. Let's see. Back in the white shirt. Yes.
Were there any bombs or bloopers that you left in the booth for someone, or that they left in for you that were kind of stood out for you?
Oh gosh. Me and Josh Greeley have like a 5-year-long bomb war going on. Like he's like my big brother. He's one of my best friends. And we've been in a ton of shows together. Like he and I should just do a panel on all the shows we've been in together. But unfortunately, like none of them are very appropriate. We're all very inappropriate, but it's great. Oh my gosh, I know that I used to leave bombs for Todd Haberkorn on Rosario Vampire, which was funny because he didn't know me very well back then. And I would just like pretend like I was like the biggest Todd Haberkorn fangirl, and all his bombs would be about like there's like a scene where Skune is like having this fantasy about like him and Mocha like riding bicycles together, and they're like going through a field of flowers, and it's so nice. And she like, I forget what she says, but she like she asks him for something, and he's like, yeah, okay, sure. And she like jumps off her bike and like glomps him, and they like fall down like a hill. And I think she just goes, thank you, and like glomps him. But instead I was like, Todd Haberkorn, I'm your biggest fan! Or like if they were having a moment, I'd be like, won't your fangirls be jealous? Or like just stupid stuff like that. But yeah, those are the only appropriate ones I can think of. I'm sorry. I will say one though. I'll just bleep myself. I did not leave this one, but it's one of the funniest ones that I've ever heard someone leave for me. It was in Hero Tales, and Newton Pittman played my big brother, and then Josh Greeley played this guy that was like madly in love with my character. My character was like, ew, no. But Josh and Newton's characters were like constantly fighting because of that. And at one point, Jose comes in and he's like, hey guys, I caught dinner, and like throws Newton's character a fish. And he's supposed to be like, wow, Jose, like you're not useless after all, or something like that. But instead he went, yeah, Jose, you could totally F my sister. And it fit perfectly. That's always the best. We leave bombs and they fit perfectly. It's so good. Yeah, it's stuff like that. And then when you're not expecting it, you're like, oh, what? And it's so great to see how people react to bombs, because sometimes they'll just keep going, and then because they don't even like register that that's not what was in the script, or they'll be like, no. It's just, and I crack up every time. I just think they're great. I'm like, someone took the time to do that for me. That's nice. Purple shirt in the back, yeah. Yes, you both are wearing purple shirts. Yeah, you.
On Fairy Tale, you voiced Miliana. How was it with like the sad backstory? You know, she was a slave, it was all really intense.
Yeah, that was sad, especially because you find that out like after you've been introduced to her, and you're like, oh, she's so happy, and then that's sad. At the same time, though, I mean, it was very sad what Miliana went through, but at the same time, I really like that she and Urza have that connection, and that they went through these horrible things together, and it shows, especially like when Miliana comes back later and she's older. You know, you realize that she and Urza, even though they went through two very different things, they have a very different idea of how they need to deal with it. And unfortunately, Miliana is like, she's kind of been pulled into the dark side of revenge. And Urza is like so desperately trying to bring her back from that. So I thought that it gave her character, because when we first see her, she's just like so cute, and she's obsessed with cats, and you know, but then when we see this tragic backstory, it's like, oh wow, you know, there's a lot more to Miliana, and that's really cool. So I'm sorry she had to go through that, but it made her more interesting. Let's see right here.
Is that address
Oh, Kurumi in Data Live, yeah. That was really fun. I love, I call her, she falls into the category, for me personally, she's what I call a wild card. Anytime I go and I audition for shows, usually they let us choose like 2 to 3 characters that we want to read for. And if it's free, I usually choose one that I'm like, the voice I would use for this character is very easy, it's my bread and butter, I've done it a million times, this character would be easy. Then I choose one that is like a slight variation of that, or that I'm interpreting slightly, either slightly lower, slightly higher, whatever. And then I choose one that's called, what I call a wild card, which is something that is just completely out of the box for me. It's something that I have not shown the director before. It's something that I really want to challenge myself, and even if I don't get cast, I'm like, I want to read for this. Like, this is my chance to play. Joel McDonald directed the first season of that, and so was the casting director. And I went in to read for Kurumi, and he told me that because of the sides that he chose, like some of it was like pieces of her really like sadistic and sexier but evil like monologues, and he did that on purpose. And he told me later after he cast me that like no one could get through it, like people were too uncomfortable, or they just like couldn't, or it wasn't that they were too uncomfortable, they were too shy, like they didn't want to be like, I don't know if they were afraid to use a sexier voice, or they were afraid to, you know, and he told me that I was like the only person that like went for it. And so knowing that like gave me a confident foundation like to start on when we started recording. But Joel, I respect Joel so much as a director mostly because he's also such an amazing actor. So he has really good instincts for acting choices and knows how to communicate well with other actors. And I'm not like, I'm very comfortable around Joel, so I was like not embarrassed to like say some of the things that Kurumi has to say. And so because of that, because we had this mutual respect and this mutual comfort, like we really got to like play with Kurumi's voice and play with the way she would say things. And he wasn't at all afraid, and in fact I encouraged it for him to just be like, I want to do that again, but it needs to be more. Like I need it to be more whatever. And he'd like give me notes and we'd go back and we'd do it again. And it was just, I had a lot of fun. And the fact that she is very evil and very, she's evil but sensual. It's this very like fine line. And very subtle at times. And so she just relishes everything that she does. And so being able to incorporate all of that into her line reads and then also add this sense of joy, even when she was doing something terrible, was really, really fun for me. That was another character that was a really fun challenge. So, thank you. Hey, this side of the room's got questions. Yeah, right here.
She has a question.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, so Sherry from last night I showed this.
Yes, it's so cute.
So I know that you voiced Kamijiro, but you also did Little Japan. This is hard. Do you still remember Little Japan's voice?
I do. Yeah, that was one of the first little boy voices that I ever did. That like was featured. Like I'd done like background stuff, but
I have his line where he talks to where he wears Beach China.
Oh, that's right. He's like one scene. It's so cute, but.
Can you say it?
Konnichiwa. I am Japan. I am from where? Oh, you are China. You are from where the sun sets. I am Japan. I am from where the sun rises.
I have the exact lines right for you.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay. Sorry. Is that not good enough?
No, that's
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Konnichiwa.
Go.
Konnichiwa. It's nice to meet you, China, where the sun sets. My name is Japan. I come from where the sun rises.
And then she's very offended. Italia? People being offended? No. Well, and then it was so fun because then when we did the female version of Italia, like the gender bent thing of Italia, it was like, oh, I get to be female Chris Bevins. That's great. I played his little boy version, and I get to be his woman version. Right here in the maroon shirt. Yes, colors. Yes, you.
So one thing, actually a couple things I say. One, please tell Joe McDonald, Ian Sinclair, and all the actors back to Funimation. I'm a fan of a lot of them. Actually, if you see Ian, please tell him I said booty baby.
He'd probably say it right back to you.
What I was going to ask you was like in all the characters that you played, which you've done quite a lot, I've seen you quite a lot anyway. But like, did you ever have like one like pivotal character like that you've ever played that you kind of got attached? So, like, 'cause usually if you ask like someone big like Johnny Unbox or Steve Bloom or like they'll have like one pivotal character that they attach. Like, did you ever have anything like that?
I don't know, like that's like asking me to choose a child. I've so enjoyed everything that I've gotten to do, and I know that sounds like a cop-out answer, but it's the truth. But as I said before, like I really have enjoyed the characters that have challenged me the most, but in terms of, you use the word pivotal, so to use the word pivotal, I think one of the most pivotal characters, at least early in my career, was probably, oh man. Well, it's probably Mocha, because not because her character was necessarily difficult, but because that was the show that taught me not to be embarrassed by fan service. And because the director just teased me relentlessly, and I was just dying inside. I was absolutely dying. And I was so embarrassed, and just like, oh. And then I realized, I'm like, he's doing that to you because he knows he can get a rise out of you, and he doesn't care that you're wasting time. Like, he's relishing in the fact that you're embarrassed. Don't give him that satisfaction. And so it was a thing of where I just had to learn, I'm like, okay, by being embarrassed, I'm ruining the take, and so we have to keep doing it. So just suck it up and do it, and just laugh at yourself afterwards. And so that taught me a huge lesson, and that is something that I have kept with me ever since then. And it's like, just do the work. You're a professional now. Like, get over it. And then, which was good, because right after that, I worked with that same director on Sekirei. And I was like, you can't get me, Grundy. You can't get me. I'm untouchable.
It was like after you did that, the Cuda movie, you have no idea how many like Rosario Vampire characters try to stop me when I go to conventions. How many substances I've gotten attacked by. And second grade, like Eric Bell as the game master, yeah, wicked awesome. Like,
Eric Bale, I love him. He's such a character. I have a funny Eric Bale story, actually, now that you mentioned that. First time he and I ever did a convention together, which was also the first time we ever met, he was so worried that I thought he was insane. And he kept telling everybody, and he's like, you need to go talk to Eric. I'm like, why? He's like, he thinks that you don't like him because he thinks that you think that he's crazy and that he has an anger problem. And I'm like, why? He hasn't yelled at me. And they're like, oh, it's because of what happened to your autograph session. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was really funny. So we're sitting, the convention we were at was so weird. They had our autograph table like in a hallway, like in a crowded hallway, like putting us out there, like where there's people walking back and forth. It was not well planned. And at this hotel, there was also like some other convention going on, like a business convention. It was like a contact lens meetup or something. It was weird. And they were right across the hallway in a panel room. And of course, we're like talking to people, and it's just he and I. And of course, you know, it's Eric Bale. He's like Trunks in Dragon Ball Z. And so a lot of people are asking him to do like Trunks impressions. And he's, being Eric Bale, and being the wonderful individual that he is giving it his all. And so, you know, that's not quiet. And, you know, and so we're trying to do that, and all of a sudden, this guy, like, walks out of the room that's across the hall, and he comes over to us in front of people, and he goes, "You guys need to calm down. You guys are being so loud, and blah, blah, blah. There are adults here trying to do things." And we were like, he turns around, storms back in, and we're just like, "Wow, guys, we're so sorry about that. Awkward." And so we're kind of talking, and I'm like, "Okay, no one saw that." And I'm like still talking to people, and I see Eric. I can just feel it. You know when you feel someone seething? And it's just like, and I'm like, "What?" And he's just like,
He's gonna go Super Saiyan.
exactly. I'm like, "Oh God, 8,999. Where's it gonna go?" Down. And so, and I'm just like, and all of a sudden he just goes, "Excuse me for a minute." And he gets up, and I'm like, "So guys, don't look over there. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me." And so I'm like, I don't know what he's gonna do. And so he goes over, and I'm like, I'm still talking to people, and there was like this like silent kind of message where it was like, "Distract them. I'm gonna go kick some butt." And I'm like, "Okay." And so I'm like talking to these people that have been kind enough to come see us, and I'm kind of like talking to them. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. And I'm like watching him, like, what's he gonna do? And I see him open the door, and I just see him like gesturing. Like he hasn't closed the door. He's like standing in the doorway, and he's like angrily gesturing. And I'm like, what is he doing? And so I'm like, okay, just. And so he's gone for like 10 minutes. And then he comes back, and he goes, "Oh, sorry about that, guys. Okay, well, where were we? And all of a sudden, this other gentleman walks out, and he's like, and by this time, we're like at the end of the line, and there's just like 3 people or so sticking around, and he comes over and he goes, "Hey guys, I'm so sorry, like what's going on?" And Eric's like, "I'll tell you what's going on." And I'm like, "Oh no." And so he's like, "Your little like," what did he say? Something. He was like, "Some guy in your little thingy over there came over here and basically embarrassed us in front of these kids that came out and to see us, and like we're guests of another convention, like we're here working, and like I gave up time with my family and with my children to be here, and like for him to come out here and cuss in front of us and to say these hateful things, if we were being too loud, that's fine, but there was a nicer way of doing it, and that's my problem." And so he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And so later on, I was like, "What happened? Like, I saw that, but what happened in there?" and he goes, apparently he went in there and like opened the door and like was like scanning the room, like looking for that first guy. And he was like over there, and he like locked eyes with him and was like, and the guy was like, he's like, "Get over here." And so it was like that back and forth for like 10 minutes. And then the guy's just like, "I'm in this meeting, I don't see you." And I was just like, "Period." So because of that, and he was like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "It's not your fault. Like, that guy was a jerk. It's not your fault." So everyone was like, "You need to go talk to Eric. He thinks that you think he's crazy." And I'm like, "No, it's fine." So I went up and told him, I'm like, "Eric, I don't think you're crazy." He's like, "Oh, okay. It's the first time I've met you, and I kind of lost my temper, and I'm sorry." And I'm like, "No, it's fine." Thank you for standing up for us. I appreciate it. Yeah, Eric's great. Anyway, back to you guys. You're in the car right here. You. Yes.
I was wondering, what was it like being in a show as ridiculous as Prison School?
Oh no!
Has anyone seen Prison School?
Yep.
Yeah!
Okay. People laugh at me, but and I realize why they're laughing. They're laughing because they're uncomfortable. And I guarantee after I make this statement, there's going to be a few. I loved voicing Hana. I think she's one of my favorite roles. Oh, no one did it. I warned you. Oh, that's fine. Everyone's like, "Don't do it, don't laugh." No, but people think I'm kidding when I say that, and I'm like, "Why don't you think I'm kidding?" They're like, "Well, because of the content." And I'm like, "Then you didn't watch the same show I did." Yeah, she does some weird stuff. But the entire show has weird stuff in it. She's certainly not the only one doing weird stuff. I mean, I will say I've never seen an anime that went there before, but I was warned. Sunny Strait, who's here this weekend also, was the director, and he completely warned me ahead of time, and I was like, "That's real weird, but like, how graphic is it?" And he's like, "Oh, it doesn't like show her parts or anything." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Yeah, she wears shorts all the time. You don't even get like a panty shot or a boob shot or anything." I'm like, "All right, good. I like her already." He's like, "That's reserved for another character." I'm like, "Okay, cool." it, Whitney. So no, but it was great, and again, like back to me loving challenges, Hana was definitely a challenge, and during that recording process, I was kind of going through some stuff in my life at the time, and I was very angry at some things, and so it was so liberating to get to go to work, and like, especially towards the end, and she like really goes off her rocker, and it's like, oh, the cute voice is gone, like that's dead, that's buried, like, ugh. And it's just like crazy Hana. It was really, really awesome to be able to come to work and just like scream into a soundproof booth, you know, with a mic. It was very liberating, and it was like this really great way to like get out all my frustration. It was amazing, and I loved being able to switch back and forth between her cute, happy, silly voice and then her like, I'm gonna kill you voice, you know? Another thing too, and this is one of the reasons why I absolutely adore working with Sunny, he's hands down one of my favorite directors, he's amazing, is his, not only his availability, but his desire to collaborate with his actors. And we came up for like an entire imaginary backstory for Hana that has nothing to do with, I mean, it doesn't contradict anything in the show, and it was really solely for my benefit, just to like help color some of the choices that I made with her vocally and some of the line reads. But because of that backstory, even though it's not canon and it's just something we made up to give her some more humanity, really influenced me and like made me feel really bad for Hana and made me think, wow, like this is a girl with a lot of issues. And like that's kind of a statement that sometimes we laugh at, but it's like, no, like a girl that's doing everything she's doing, regardless of what our made up story is, has gotta have issues. Very deep-seated issues. And so, even though there's weird stuff. Oh, and another thing, Sunny would always highlight my lines in yellow. And he's like, look what I did for you. I'm like, I see it, Sunny. I see it. And then people would send me like really weird pictures on Twitter. I'm like, why are you sending me this? Please don't. Please stop. Glasses back here.
Which is more challenging? Voice acting for anime or voice acting for video game? And why?
Ooh. I think voice acting for Japanese video games in Los Angeles is very different and very, very difficult. The first time I went out to Los Angeles to record a video game, it was Tales of Zestiria, and their process is very different. And I'm like, oh God, like I'm supposed to be experienced, and oh, what are we doing? Like, oh God, I don't know what this is. With anime, we go into it with a certain amount of blindness, just because like if you're the first person to record, you're talking to yourself, or if the Japanese studio has not completely sent us all of the elements yet, you're literally recording in a vacuum because there aren't any sound effects, there aren't any music, you know, nothing like that. So that is challenging, but at least you have an image, and at least you can preview it in Japanese and get a sense of the timing. When we recorded Tales of Zestiria, all I had was an Excel spreadsheet on a computer screen that had my individual lines written on them, no context, no nothing, no image, and then a number, a decimal number written in another box. So it might be like, Saray, and then it would be like 0.0005. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, that's how long you have to say it. And I'm like, I have no concept of that. Like, what? And so, and that's why the director is there, and you know, okay, it needs to be faster, it needs to be faster. I'm like, I don't have any concept of what 4.25976 is. Like, what? And I'm used to being able to preview stuff with a visual, and when I worked on Japanese video games in Texas, what they'll do is they'll allow you to see what the engineer is looking at, and it's not great, but it's better than nothing. They'll show you the Japanese sound file, and then they'll show your sound file recording underneath it. So you have an idea of like, okay, that's how long it needs to be. But in the booth in LA, nothing. My other screen was black. And I'm like, I have a spreadsheet with a line and some numbers. Great. And I don't have any other character lines to go off of, even though other characters have recorded. the only time I got a visual was when we did cutscenes, and Alicia didn't have very many cutscenes. So that was really recording in the dark. And I'm like, and I didn't have lines in the scene to look at. That's another thing. When we record with anime, yes, I'm only recording my lines, but I have the other characters' lines to look at. So I'm doing literally a one-sided conversation with absolutely no idea of how the other character is responding. I was so lost. and I was so grateful that the response for Zisteria, or the dub, was like so positive, because I was like, I wasn't sure. Like, not at all. I came out of there thinking it was like the worst thing I'd ever done. And then when people responded to it so favorably, I was like, oh, okay, good. Well, if they like it, that's all that's important. Like, and it really kicked my butt, and it was a really interesting experience. And now when I go back for video games, I'm like, shoot, I got this. You know, like, it's still really challenging, but at least I know what's going on now. So, yeah. Complicated. Beret back here.
I was just curious if any character you've ever voice acted has left a lasting effect on your daily speaking voice.
It used to in the beginning, especially because I was doing so much, like when I was still in college, because I started when I was 19. And so I was still in school, and I would just have these long, crazy days where I would go to class all day, and then I would go to a marketing internship I had, and then I would go record, and then I would have to go and do homework, and then, you know, still try to make time for a social life. And so when I was still doing that, sometimes I would like meet up with my friends like right after work, and I would find that I would like still be in a voice, and they'd be like, Alexis, stop, you're not in the studio anymore. I'm like, oh yeah. And I just like fall out. And I know that happened with Mizuki a little bit in Baka and Test, especially because she was like so, she was so high pitched and breathy, and sometimes I would just like come out of work, not quite that high, but still kind of up there. Other than that, just sometimes like things will stick around that I just think are funny. Like right now, it's kind of happening with Puzzle of Dragons, because my character always has Tama in his name, because his name is Tamazo. And so, especially if I see like Felicia or the director or somebody, we'll just be like, and we keep like using, we keep making up songs for Tama because of his name, and I get stuck in everybody's head, and I'll find myself like singing it. Like one of the ones we're doing is Tama, 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 Tamazo. Or there's an episode where he's like stuck in a cage, and he finds these like buttons that like bring him food, and every time he pushes a button, he goes, push it. And so we'd be like, push it real good. Tama, 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 Tama. So like that happens a lot. Like I'll like pass Felicia in the halls, and I'll be like, Tama, Tama. She's like, no, get away from me. And then the engineers tell me that she's been annoying them because she keeps singing it so much. And when I'm not there, I'm like, I'm in your brain and charge me rent. The hat right here.
What's it like doing the broadcast dubs versus the traditional dubs?
Oh gosh, the broadcast dubs, which by the way, to take this opportunity, shameless plug, but it's important. Does anyone in here not know what we're talking about when we say broadcast dubs? Please be honest, it's important. Okay, if you go to Funimation.com, there's a thing where you can make an account on Funimation.com. It's called EVS, which stands for Elite Video Subscriber. It's like Netflix for anime, and you can pay a certain monthly rate that gives you all access to sub only. So if you hate dubs, that's fine. You can still do it. And then if you for like $1 more or something, you get access to subs, you get access to dubs, you get access to like cast announcements early, exclusive interviews, like all kinds of stuff. And so what Funimation is doing is instead, what we've mostly done up until like last year is straight to DVD dubs. So anime was taking, I think Funimation was working very quickly, but at the same time, it would take 6 months to a year for a show to come out on DVD. Well, with this new broadcast dub initiative, which we have completely, or almost completely switched over to, if you have this Elite Video subscription, you can now see episodes a week. Every week, a new episode of our shows gets posted online. You can watch the subbed, or you can watch the dubbed. And you can do like a 19-day free trial to see if it's for you. You can cancel at any time. But why this is so important is that it's an initiative to lock, to end pirating, basically. and also to quell the complaints of fans that want their anime faster. I don't think it gets any faster than this. Like, you get one episode per week of your favorite shows. And it is a really, really amazing thing. And we've been doing it for over a year, and I'm just shocked that more people don't know about it. But seriously, like, try it out. If it's not for you, great. And all of these broadcast dubs will eventually be on DVD. So you still can get them on DVD. It's just that if you want them sooner, this is a really, really great thing to do. So, like Prison School that we were talking about was a broadcast dub. I mentioned Show by Rock, that was a broadcast dub. Puzzle and Dragons right now is a broadcast dub. All kinds of really, Tales of Systeria that we were talking about, the anime is a broadcast dub. It's an amazing, amazing thing, and you guys should really look into it if you haven't heard about it before. So anyway, okay, off my soapbox. So to answer your question now, I try to inject that into panels, and that was the perfect opportunity. It's crazy. The turnaround is crazy. And it used to be that we would have like 3 months to do like a 6-episode contract, and now we have to do 1 episode a week. And so when I leave town, Funimation gets really nervous. I used to have a lot more freedom to leave town, and now it's like, okay, I gotta like tell all these people, and they gotta know when I'm coming back, and and our talent coordinator is like losing her mind because it's like so much stuff to book, and people aren't always available. And we've definitely worked out a lot of the kinks since last year because we're all now getting into the groove of doing that. But it's insane. It's quick. And the script writers have to work a lot faster, the engineers, the actors, the directors, the guys in post, like it is a team effort. But those that do have EVS and are able to see these shows, I think have really enjoyed it, and I think the fans have been really excited to have anime coming out faster, so because of that, it's totally worth it. And it's kind of job security too, because we're getting in so many more shows now, which is awesome. So, yeah. Rick,
One happy belated birthday to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, when was it? 11th or 12th? I hate Wikipedia when they do that.
Oh, it's on the 11th.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it was on Thursday. What?
Leo Pride.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Leo.
Leo Pride. Who's a Leo?
My birthday was the 7th.
Oh yeah, happy or belated birthday, early birthday. What day is it? What year is it? Anyway, what?
Yeah, what was it called? EV what?
Oh, EVS. You just go to Funimation.com.
Oh, Funimation.com.
So it's like Fun-I-mation. Because animation is fun. You should be watching. Oh my god, there was a guy, I'm sorry, real quick. There was a guy that, because our slogan at Funimation is you should be watching. And there was a guy, he's so funny. He made this video. He was visiting from London. He's like a friend of a bunch of people that work at Funimation. I don't know him very well, but he's very sweet. And he had this video that he tagged all of us in, and he's like outside and he's filming himself, and you can tell there's a bush behind him, and he goes, "They told us we should be watching." And then he like puts the camera up, and it's Funimation. He goes, "We are." And I was like, oh God, no, stop. You found us, no. Now it's like super easy to find. Just Google it. Who has not asked a question? Yeah, Richard. Sorry, I know you guys have names. I'm so sorry that I'm like labeling you.
Currently right now I'm actually getting trained to do voiceover. And,
Nice.
One of the things my teacher brought up was the main thing that's important is getting a good demo out. And I just wanted to get a second opinion from somebody who most would say is a very successful voice actor.
Thank you.
Would you say that the most important thing would be getting a demo out, like a business card, or you also need kind of the resume too to back it up?
That's a great question. He was asking about voice demos, for those of you that are interested in submitting to studios to be considered for voiceover. First of all, with demos, it's very, very, very important to establish what kind of voice acting you want to get into, because there are multiple kinds of demos. You have your, like me for example, I have 4 demos. I have a commercial demo, which is like radio commercials, like industrial stuff. I have my animation demo, which is why I'm here, anime voice acting, and video games. I have what's called a political voice demo, which is like, please endorse, candidate of your choice, that kind of thing. This is sponsored by John Smith, that kind of thing, whatever, those stupid commercials. It's like, never gotten that, and I'm really glad, because I hate politics. Anyway, and then I have a book on tape demo. So it's very important, regardless of what kind of work you're most passionate about, to not pigeonhole yourself. I cannot think of a single person in this industry that does not do something else on top of this. Even if you become successful or enjoy any level of success, it's very hard to survive and live comfortably doing just this. Like, you need to do other things on top of it. That being said, once you establish what kind of demo you want to start off with, and you can build as you go. You don't need all 4 of them at once, or some people have 5. But establish what it is that you want. And I think a resume is very important. If you have no experience to put on a resume, or you think that you don't, another thing that I always ask people is, okay, well, just because you don't have the experience that you're trying to get, I guarantee you probably have something. Like this class you're taking right now, put that on your resume, that's training. If you've taken public speaking courses, that's training. If you did community theater, if you were in a school play, if you just something until you can build yourself up, music training, that it's all the same instrument, whether you're speaking or singing, it's very important. Things like that, just anything that will make you stand out or show that, like, hey, I'm early in my journey, but like I'm trying, like I'm building this up. And on your demo, the idea is that, do you want to go into animation? Is that your big thing?
I'll take anything on it.
Okay. Well, with industrial and animation, like when you make those demos, what you want to do is start off with just stuff that you've written. Ideally, what you're going to want to do is eventually get work, book work, and put that work on the demo. But for industrial, write fake commercials, book on tape, find your favorite book and read a few pages out loud. For animation, just do as many voices as possible that you can think of. They want to hear you. They don't want to hear your impressions. They don't want to hear you mimic somebody else because that person already exists. They're not looking to fill that character anymore. Mimicry is a good tool to use to teach yourself about your voice, but that is not something that you want to advertise. It may come in handy one day, but in order to get your foot in the door, that's not what they're looking for. A lot of people also think that on demos, especially for animation, that you just need to do as many voices as possible. That's great. If you have like 1,000 voices, by all means, like put as many on there as possible. But what they're also looking for is a range of emotion. Maybe your voice isn't changing, but can you convincingly display anger? Can you convincingly cry? Can you convincingly be stupid excited? Like whatever. So I think a lot of people, when they set out to make their demos, they get really overwhelmed and then they limit themselves. Just do whatever you can think of. And it's really not about what you're saying, it's about how you're saying it, if that makes sense. A lot of people get caught up in, oh, what do I write? What do I say? It's like, anything, read the dictionary. Another thing that I would suggest is, when you're making your demo, you want it to be high quality, but that doesn't mean that you have to go out and spend like $5,000 on a demo. And make sure that you research who's doing your demo and make sure that they're not going to screw you over, because there are a lot of people that do. And for your first demo, if you don't have work, my first demo was not professional. It was not. I made it at home because I was like, I don't know if this is going anywhere. Shoot. And now I have a professional demo because I've built up to that. But in the beginning, I didn't. I'm somehow still here. So yeah, just a lot of things to keep in mind. I hope that answered your question. Yeah.
So at first you're saying kind of, take whatever you can get work-wise and then to build up that resume. And then also when you're making the demo, to kind of have it as arranged and as different.
Yeah, and I wouldn't suggest just taking whatever you can get. I mean, if they are someone who will value your time, then definitely.
Yeah,
but
I mean, just like, you have to start kind of small and work out.
Exactly. And don't get overwhelmed because it is a journey and everyone has to start somewhere. So just don't look at it and go, oh gosh, I have so much I have to do, I have so far to go. No, that's gonna like get you in a rut. Don't do it. Just start with what you have and just be like, hey, this is me. This is where I am now. Take it or leave it. So yeah, just put your best self forward on your demo, and people will listen to that and be like, oh, I'm interested in this guy. So yeah, you're welcome. And I'm sorry to ramble. I know it's a really long answer, but I want to be thorough for questions like that. Who has not answered, or who has not answered the question? Not me, no. I've been rambling up here like nobody's business. Who has not asked a question? Yes.
I was wondering if you had any plans on recording drugs, and also to know how you're cooking compared to the
Oh gosh. Music Himeji and Baka and Tess was a lot of fun. And there's another show I did with Josh Greeley, and we were so excited to be cast together. Yeah, she was a ton of fun. At the time, she was because her voice is so high pitched and it's also breathy. It was a little challenging for me. At the time, it was like one of the highest pitched voices I'd done, and so I have a fun story like with Terry Doty, who was the director of the first season and the casting director. Sometimes I'd start to fall out of it, and so we would talk like Charlie the Unicorn. She would go, ba, 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 Charlie, and I'd go, Charlie. And then that was like, okay, you're back in the voice. And we annoyed the engineer so badly. He was really mad at us, but we'd just be like, Charlie. She'd never seen Charlie the Unicorn, you guys. She has now, but back then she hadn't. And I was like, what's wrong with you? We can't be friends, I failed you. And so we watched it, and then she was like, you know what, that's actually perfect for you, Charlie. But as far as cooking, I am not the best cook, but I'm much better than Misaki. I've never killed anyone with my food, so, or even made them sick. Knock on wood. Anybody else? Right here in the hat.
You started voice acting on TV. Like how and where?
I started working for Funimation. That was my first job. I lived in the area of Funimation. That's very important. If you want to work for a certain studio, you need to be local. Yeah, like I had auditioned 1 year, and then I went away to school and realized, like, for my freshman year of college, and I was like, I'm really not satisfied with this. I want to try again, and I don't like this school, so I'm going to transfer anyway. And so, long story short, with lots of twists and turns and serendipitous moments, I ended up getting called back in for an audition because they had lost my information the first time. And I was like, oh my, because they were in the middle of moving the first time I auditioned. And so they got my information again, pulled me in, and the very first show I ever auditioned for, the very, very first show that I ever auditioned for was One Piece, and then there was a year where I was at school, and then, which, that puts it into perspective. I've been doing this for almost 8 years, and the first show I auditioned for was One Piece. Are you kidding me? It's still going on, you guys. It will never die. Job security for all. What was I saying? Okay. And then when they brought me in again, the first show that I auditioned for was Tower of Jiraga with Leah Clark as the casting director. And she cast me in my first role, which was a princess in Tower of Jiraga. And then a few episodes later, there was a recurring character that she brought me back in for, named Ala, that made appearances in like 6 episodes. And I was like, this is amazing. So it was really cool. Yeah. I did not, no. I have an agent now. But when I started working for Funimation, I did not have an agent because I thought they would call me in for a few things, maybe, and then that would be it. So when I've been at Funimation for about 2.5, 3 years, I was like, okay, it's time to get an agent. But I wanted to get an agent to explore opportunities outside of Funimation because I was like, I've already established these relationships, I've already built these bridges, I don't need an agent for this. So I want work outside. I want an agent to take the work that I've done here at Funimation and use that to promote me to other companies. So I signed with an agency in Dallas called the Horn Agency, and I was with them for about 4 years. And I just broke up with them a few months ago. No, we call it breaking up, it's really weird. And I'm with a new agency now, but they were very good to me. It just wasn't working, so I was like, I need to change. And so now I'm with a different agent. But and I'm very happy with my new agent. So, but yeah, an agent is good for getting more opportunities. And some people have used agencies to get into Funimation, but it's not a requirement. So a lot of people don't. So yeah, I'm different. So many purple. I keep saying in the purple. I'm like, there's like 10 of you. I shouldn't do that.
If you were trapped on a desert island, with characters that you have voiced,
Oh, jeez.
Who would you choose to be trapped with?
Someone else. I was gonna say Mocha, and then I was like, no, she'll drink my blood. And then I was gonna say Mizuki. I'm like, no, her cooking's terrible.
Maria?
Maria would be cool, and Maria's a witch. That's another broadcast stuff. Hey, bring it back. Yeah, Maria's a witch, and she has familiars. She could get us off the island because she can fly. Yeah. Yeah, Maria would be a good one. That'd be a great one. Good job.
What about Rika?
No. Although, I do say that, but then at the same time, I'm like, Rika would be funny. Like, she would be entertaining, and her inventions work. But then she and Maria would fight, because Maria would be like, I have magic. Why are you making that? And Rika would be like, because science. And then they would, no, that'd be bad. And then with the whole religious thing in Maria, no. Maybe Choo Choo from Show by Rock, because she could like play us music and entertain us while Maria was like figuring it out. That'd be kind of cool. And then Maria would be like, why do you have bunny ears? Are you a familiar? And she'd be like, no. That'd be that'd be weird. Someone draw that, please. Anyone who has not asked a question. I love how I said that, and like, people that have asked a question, their hands did not go down. Do not snap at me. I'm not your teacher. Teacher, question. Teacher. No, don't
Well,
do
he
that.
helped me earlier to get me to ask you a question. Now I'm helping him.
I know, but you're snapping at me. I don't like that. Seriously, who has not asked a question? Put your hands down if you've not asked a question. Okay, green shirt.
You mentioned at the beginning of the panel that you've done anime and video game work nowadays. I wasn't aware of any of the anime work.
I've only done one anime out there. It's technically a Funimation title, but because all of the cast was Los Angeles, we did it in Los Angeles. It was Blaze Blue. Unfortunately, Laura Bailey was not able to return as Platinum to Trinity. She was like, I think she was the only one that wasn't able to return, so I voice matched her for that. Okay, now I will answer your question.
This is completely unrelated to anime. So,
Okay, cool.
do you think you still have some music over? Because I just want to ask your opinion.
Okay.
What do you think of Korean pop music?
Oh, I love K-pop. K-pop's great. No, K-pop is awesome. And I'm kind of mad when it comes to K-pop because me and some of my friends were listening to K-pop when we were still in high school, and everyone thought we were really dumb for listening to it, and then Gangnam Style came on the radio, and all those people are like, oh my god, this is the best song ever! And me and my friends are like, I'm like a K-pop hipster. But yeah, no, and like they would make fun of us for listening to like Japanese music and like foreign music of any kind. And I'm like, hey, if it moves you, who cares if you can understand what they're saying? But no, I love K-pop. It's amazing. It's really cool. And I wish that we would have that kind of like boy band and like girl group resurgence in America. Like that would be like that was like my childhood, man. Like the Spice Girls and stuff. That'd be so awesome. What?
So they're all coming back right now.
Yes. Did you hear that Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys are going to tour together? My like 7-year-old heart is like screaming. It's amazing. I like shipped those two bands when I was little before I even knew what shipping was. Like I was like, okay, and then Kevin would be with Ginger, and this would be with this. That was bad. Yeah. Let's see. It's like 1:45 now. One more question. I'm making an executive decision. Okay. Yes. You in the 11th purple shirt.
Two questions. One is, I always remembered you as the pink hair character.
Oh.
So when I ran into Sun was like one of my favorite characters that wasn't a pink hair character. How was it like did you like love Sun because she was like hilarious?
Oh my gosh. Sunsetto was so much fun. I wanted that role so bad. I wanted that role so bad. And when I got scheduled for the audition and I was like doing research and I was like, oh, this is so much fun. And then I got a sinus infection right before, well no, I did the audition and then they brought us back for a singing audition. And I got a sore throat and like a sinus issue like right before the singing audition. And it was the first time I'd ever sung for Funimation. And I was like, oh no. And somehow, some way, I don't know. I still got cast. That was one of my, still to this day, is one of my most favorite shows I've ever worked on. I love that like high energy, like manic, zany humor, and it's just like the challenge of fitting like this much text into like 2-second lip flaps. You know, it's like, oh my god. And then it was very special because I got to sing, which was really cool. And the show was just so funny and had so many people that I admire in it. And then this past December, I went to Japan. I've been to Japan twice before, but I went to Hiroshima, which I had never been to. And they have a ferry that takes you from the mainland to a little island called Miyajima. It's like 5 minutes off the coast. And when I got to Miyajima, it's like beautiful, like spiritual place where like there's deer everywhere. It's amazing. Like the trees are like 8 million years old, you know, that kind of thing. Ninjas everywhere. But there was a map of like the area of Miyajima, and I realized that the water that we had crossed was the Seto Inland Sea from My Girl Was a Mermaid. And I was like, I was with my dad, and I was like, you guys, my dad, it's good, I'm home. And I took a picture of like me in front of the map being like this, and I put it on Twitter, and I was like, look guys, I'm home. So it was really cool. It's the gift that keeps on giving.